Humans then went to Silver Star. The subsequent events. Don't you know? For example, what is in Silver Star? In the end, Lin Zhu couldn't bear it any longer. One hand without a face. I really want to say I don't know this Dubai. This bean sprout is not from the same clan as me, but it seems like it's of no use. It can no longer be denied. Who knows what is in Silver Star? But you don't have to worry, because I received it here. Beginning the transmission to Silver Star, the last message sent. Everything is normal. And if something really happens, you are no longer a high-level being now. So don't worry. Even if the road is winding, we have ultimately reached the end, as long as you are sure of this. A few bumps on the road. It's nothing at all. Wang Jian suddenly became serious again. Even Lin Zhu felt a bit unaccustomed. You're switching between being silly and profound. That's just too normal. It can't really be just one person. I've been here for too long. Have you lost your mind? All right. That being said, the ruins I encountered along the way, those complete technical upgrade documents, and the complete star map for your next route, it should have been intentionally left behind. This moment, Lin Zhu had many unresolved questions about his past encounters. I have found the answer. You already guessed it. Why ask when you already know? Wang Jian wanted to shrug again, but he held back. After all, the same move against the Saint Seiya cannot be used twice. He definitely doesn't want to be criticized by Lin Zhu for the same thing again. Actually, you can just shrug if you want. It's so hard to hold it in like this. It's even more awkward. However, Lin Zhu thought for a moment. Still expressed their own views. Wang Jian's action of drinking tea. Everyone froze for a moment, seeing Lin Zhu's complicated expression. You must have often been bullied before. Not available. They can't beat me. Lin Zhu replied. Is there anything else you would like to ask? Hurry and ask. I don't have much time left. Wang Jian collapsed directly onto the sofa, a face full of despair. It's not because this conversation has ended. He is about to disappear. He is just a shadow. After completing the mission, one will disappear. This is a given. He wouldn't be sad or upset about it. It's just a message. What's there to be sad about? Then, let me ask you one last question. If I can now penetrate the weak points of higher dimensions, can we directly enter a higher dimension? Ordinary low-dimensional creatures entering a higher dimension is not possible. But I am a higher dimensional being. Entering a higher dimension shouldn't be a problem, right? Lin Zhu thought for a moment, asked the final question. Theoretically, there shouldn't be any problems. But are you sure you want to do this? What exactly is the situation with higher dimensions? 1,000 years ago, human understanding of higher dimensions. I can't explain it either. Maybe doing this. Can you really find a human directly? Wang Jian looked at Lin Zhu with a big smile. Now this. Muxiu beside the male lead became nervous. Because of Lin Zhu, if we really choose to directly open the weak points of higher dimensions, entering the high-dimensional space, they definitely can't follow. That means, from now on, they would have to part ways with Lin Zhu. Even thought I believed I was. Lu Yao wouldn't care that much. Everyone perked up their ears to listen. Miss Q continues to massage Lin Zhu's temples. But the breathing quickened slightly, exposed everything. However, Lin Zhu thought for a moment before. He slowly shook his head, vetoed his own proposal. Forget it. If we resolutely enter the higher dimensions like this, even if I can't die, probably lost in the higher dimensions. Gao Wai, However, it is countless times wider than the universe. Searching for humanity in higher dimensions, I might as well continue searching here. You see, you know very well. You just want something from me, just seeking a little recognition. Wang Jian's greed. Lin Zhu watched his greedy movements, resisted the urge to complain. Lin Zhu also didn't know why. Look at him shrugging greedily. There's always a kind of stick poison smell. It's the type of person who's clearly a shut-in, pretending to be in a perfect relationship. It's like someone who can't act, reciting lines according to the script. It's just so awkward. Otherwise, Lin Zhu's spirit of sarcasm. It wouldn't be so highly inflated. However, after all, we will eventually part ways. Lin Zhu felt that he just be a little kinder, leave a good impression. Maybe we will meet again in the future. Will I meet you again? Lin Zhu had a feeling. He and Wang Jian in front of him. This won't be our last meeting. It should be possible, since humanity has already mastered this technology. In the upcoming season, maybe it will leave a shadow. Given my personality, 80% of those who remain will still be me. After all, others are all set on fear. I'm just a bit more involved with cattle, the nerdy scientist. You understand. Wang Jian shrugged again. He stopped pretending. Anyway, I'm going to be criticized no matter what. Then why should I still control myself? Are you sure you are involved with Neil? Not a clown. Lin Zhu finally couldn't suppress his desire to complain. Of course, I'm involved with the cattle. In our laboratory, I understand socializing the best. Usually makes appearances, facing the media. But it was me who came. Wang Jian immediately said with a proud expression, it's just like Lao Mai's big tail. No matter how much you show your face, the scent of a shut-in clings to me. It can't be hidden anymore. In the lair of the Ataku, the older brother is present. Lin Zhu said he understood. No wonder it feels so awkward. Got it. That's nothing. I will take my leave now. Hope to see you again next time. Lin Zhu stood up. Mu Ziyu sitting next to him on a row of sofas. The male lead and Lu Yao also stood up. Wang Jian also stood up from the sofa. A wave of the hand. The sofa and coffee table have disappeared. All right. Let's go. After I disappear for a while, if you want to move, you can take this place with you. Anyway, there's plenty of space on Earth. I guess this counts as coming home. Wang Jian said this. Still a bit happy. Okay, I am on Earth. Let me pick another piece for you. Lin Zhu said with a smile. Son, you cursed me. I wish for you to come and keep me company soon. Wang Jian gave Lin Zhu the middle finger. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Requesting a monthly pass. Request for recommendation. End of this chapter. Chapter 117. Rushing into the Silver Star Black Hole. Chapter 117. Rushing into the Silver Star Black Hole. Requesting a monthly pass. First, 3 pages. Lin Zhu turned and left. Everything behind me instantly vanished. It didn't go through those bizarre scenes before, but appeared directly in the lobby before the elevator, looking in all directions. There are still countless halls. Countless Lin Zhus followed behind Miss Q. Mu Ziyu, male protagonist, Lu Yao's scene, but a few people had already become accustomed to it by this time, not even taking a second look at those scenes. He walked directly into the elevator. Then the elevator went up. The stillness left the underground. Along the way back, left the base. Once again, we took off through the entrance of the hyperspace, leaving this subspace. back to the asteroid in the normal universe. At this moment, facing the tens of thousands of meters open exit of the subspace, Linzhu's portable space, in the vast opening thousands of meters wide. A large number of self-disciplined machines, still busy moving various kinds of equipment, base on the asteroid in subspace. It has already been torn down for almost half. Master, should the core area be demolished? Firefly asked. However, Linzhu hesitated. The message left by humanity here, or say, the shadow of Wang Jian, has already disappeared. The ruins have been almost completely dismantled. Then leave a core area. It's not of much use. Just once this core area is dismantled, leaving this high-dimensional weak point, originally possessed high-dimensional characteristics, it will probably disappear too. This is why Linzhu hesitated. Humans from 10,000 years ago just started a preliminary understanding of high dimensions. This can be built. Core area with higher dimensional characteristics. It also takes advantage of this characteristic of high dimensional weaknesses. Once you leave here, high dimensional characteristics are bound to disappear as well. Just in the end, Linzhu still nodded. Let's tear it down. Stay here. It's useless anyway. A few days later, base on the asteroid in the entire hyperspace. Everything has been completely demolished. Moved to Earth, including the core area. Core area. It still maintains high dimensional characteristics. But by the time Linzhu left, the high dimensional characteristics will gradually dissipate until it returns to normal. And during these few days, intelligent computers on Earth, also utilizing the newly acquired technology, using relocated equipment, a compact device capable of traveling at 1,000 times the speed of light was created. Driving engine. The installation has been completed on the Lark. Even a device for collecting vacuum zero-point energy. It was also created, even though there's only one. But it's enough for the Skylark to use. Compared to the previous functional methods of antimatter annihilation, vacuum zero-point energy, although technically more challenging, but it is also safer and more efficient. Just right to support the 1,000-fold light speed drive. The engine's enormous energy consumption. It wasn't until this moment Linzhu suddenly realized, driving the Lark, the benefits of such a small spaceship. The modification is too simple. If this were to be given to the whole Earth, replace with a brand new drive engine and the vacuum zero-point energy. How much time will that take? Of course, although Linzhu has not temporarily put the Earth, take it out again and continue with the plan. But there is a drive engine factory on Earth. It has already been transformed, producing a brand new 1,000 times the speed of light drive engine. At the same time, a large number of vacuum zero-point energy factories, also under construction. Then began the drive engines for the entire Earth, upgrade and renovation. Also to increase for the Earth the function mechanism of vacuum zero-point energy. However, it can't be accomplished in just one day. Anyway, the Earth, it was placed in the portable space. Then take your time to transform. So, when the transfer of the subspace plan was completed, that will unfold to a size of tens of thousands of meters. Portable space entrance and exit. The Earth across from the entrance. Rehidden in Linzhu's personal space. Linzhu and the others returned to the cockpit of the Lark, ready to set off again. And this time's target. It is the Silver Star. What is the situation there? Linzhu also didn't know. Maybe nothing will happen. But then again, who knows? There is a considerable danger. although humanity back then finally succeeded in ascending dimensions. This illustrates 10,000 years ago, the fleet sets sail like silver stars. In the end, it is safe. But who knows? Was there any loss in between? Is the loss significant? This is also Linzu, the reason for not reopening Earth. In theory, the chaos and filth now spread across hundreds of light years in the Silver Star region has become inert filth, lost the ability to assimilate order. It won't harm the Earth anymore, but the target is so large for Earth. Charging into the real Silver Star, Linzu still felt uncertain. After all, the greater the goal, the more dangers one may encounter. So Zuosi thought again. Let's use the Skylark instead. Target small, still at 1,000 times the speed of light. Speed up, wanting to escape various dangers. It's much easier. And now the Earth. It's still 100 times the speed of light. Unsure how long the transformation will take, weighing the pros and cons. It's better to use the Lark. As for Earth, let's just stay in the portable space. Just like that, the Lark slowly ascended from the asteroid. But Linzu did not take it back. The nanorobots have already spread around the asteroid. These days, originally, it was just a swarm of nanobots surrounding the asteroid, constantly expanding in all directions, continuously eliminating the inert filth in the cosmos. And laziness and filth, after losing the ability to assimilate order, additionally being suppressed by the weak points of the higher dimension, always retreating step by step. When Linzu was about to leave, the surroundings have already become a whole expanse. The universe space has been cleared out. Linzu gazed at this vast expanse of the universe. Look again at the nanobots still expanding in all directions. But as the distance grew further, after distancing from the high-dimensional suppression, facing the endless inertia of filth, the expansion of the nanobots has also slowed down. Thus, Linzu finally issued the order. All the nanobots returned to the asteroid, staying firm and waiting for the counterattack of the clans. Then the Lark plunged into the stagnant filth, heading towards the true center of the galaxy. All the disorder and filth in the Silver Star has already become stagnant filth. So theoretically, even if Linzu doesn't need to enter the high-dimensional state again, the Lark can still sail through the stagnant filth. At most, it will be attacked by inertia and filth, as long as there are nanobots for protection. Or perhaps just hold up a protective shield. Just resist the attack of laziness and filth. But Linzu still activated the high-dimensional state. The sheltering Lark plunged into the inner filth because he wanted to exercise more. It's best to get used to entering a higher dimensional state at every moment. Moreover, he no longer needs to constantly perform high-dimensional interference. The disorderly filth of the traversed area. This chapter is not finished. Please click the next page to continue reading. Chapter 117. Rushing into the Silver Star Black Hole, requesting a monthly pass. Second, 3 pages. Transformed into inert filth. Then I no longer feel tired. This is the true core of the Milky Way galaxy. How much further is it? Linzu sat in the cockpit. He asked from the driver's seat facing the idle window, although it is actually Yin Huo who is piloting the Yunque. However, the driver's seat and control devices are still retained for emergency use. Time year? Master, Yin Huo replied. Time years? It will take about 3.5 days to arrive. Linzu nodded. The true core of Silver Star. What is it really? Rushing the road with her. He raised his head and asked. He is now interested in these scientific matters. always filled with curiosity, just like his initial fervor for cultivation. Black hole, Man Yanling, a massive black hole 3 light-years away. Mu Ziyu replied, for an interstellar civilization, this should be common knowledge. After all, Lu Yao is just a latecomer. It's normal not to know. Black hole. We aren't going to rush into a black hole, are we? Still spiritual. Black holes within a 3 light-year range. What would happen then? Lu Yao was taken aback. He still understands black holes. This is the size. That's a bit too exaggerated. Who knows? There were once countless advanced civilizations. A probe was sent to the black hole of Silver Star. There are no results. Humanity lost contact after entering the Silver Star black hole. This is also countless advanced civilizations. It is certain that humanity will not return. The reason for even their demise. Mu Ziyu replied, so, are we really going to enter the black hole? Lu Yao weakly raised his hand and asked, of course. Then what are we here for? Lingxu naturally said, all right. But now the Silver Star black hole, is it still a black hole? Will it not be eroded by the filth of loss? Lu Yao thought for a moment and asked, do you know? Why get close to the Silver Star? Are there weak points in higher dimensions? Lingxu retorted, is there a connection between black holes and higher dimensions? Lu Yao immediately reacted, no, black holes are unrelated to higher dimensions, but rather the time and space distorted by the black hole will move towards the higher dimensions. This leads to high dimensions. Is there a difference? Lu Yao pressed for answers. Of course there is a difference. A black hole is a distortion of time and space. But not all black holes will involve high dimensions. Only black holes with sufficient mass, twisting of time and space, reaching a certain extreme. Time and space. Only then can we get close enough to the higher dimensions. Further establish a connection with higher dimensions. Yet the mass of the Silver Star black hole is large enough. Thus, the time and space of the Silver Star black hole begin to approach the infinite higher dimensions. A connection was established. This is just around the corner. Formed a varying number of weak points in high dimensions. Lin Zhu explained. So it is said. The entire Silver Star black hole, it is actually a vast high-dimensional weak point. Then go straight through here. Isn't that how we can reach a higher dimension? Lu Yao suddenly understood. Misunderstanding. This feels more like. Blurred the boundaries between high dimensions and low dimensions. It is a middle ground. Buffer zone. It's like a muddy area formed by the mixture of water and soil. It has some characteristics of both, but neither of them is. Want to reach a higher dimension through here. It's actually more troublesome than high-dimensional weaknesses. Lin Zhu continued to explain. So that's how it is. However, since both high-dimensional and low-dimensional characteristics exist, then the chaos and filth would no longer be able to invade. Lu Yao concluded by saying, that's right. Black holes in the universe, unable to escape the chaos and filth, still eroded by disorder and filth, because a black hole is also a form of order. But if the mass of this black hole is large enough, the distortion of time and space has become linked with higher dimensions. Then the chaos and filth have no power over such a black hole. Lin Zhu finally explained. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. The people in the cockpit. Rarely do we all gather in front of the idle window. Everyone take their seats. Because the true core of the Milky Way, it's almost here. Even Lin Zhu buckled his seatbelt. He observed from a higher dimensional perspective. I have already seen the expanse ahead that stretches infinitely. 3 light years. The area where high-dimensional and low-dimensional parts overlap and become confused. In this area, entanglement between low dimensions and high dimensions. A lot of low-dimensional intelligence has emerged. In the eyes of living beings, bizarre and fantastical sights. In this area, there is no such thing as pure high dimensions. Only the higher dimensional rules overlap here. So, there is no presence of chaotic primordial energy here either. Chaos primordial energy exists only in energy in pure higher dimensions. The black tide around us is becoming scarcer. Lu Yao observed outside the window and said, "We are very close to the silver star black hole. So, the disorder and filth here are also quite rare. Now disorder and filth have become stagnant dirt. It is even more necessary to stay away from silver star, completely detached from the realm of inertia and filth." But a few people continued to observe the scenery outside the window. Yet there was not a hint of relaxation on their faces, because just after leaving the stagnant and filthy black tide area, what lies ahead is an endless, boundless darkness. Unlike the darkness of the black current, this is the darkness belonging to the black hole, endlessly extending in all directions. Juju Lane, the 3 light-year black hole. Juhi, we went in. Lin Zhu just reminded. The lark ship traveling at 1,000 times the speed of light, already plunged into the black hole. In an instant, the light and shadow around began to warp. Even the skylark itself seems to be twisting. In theory, lark at 1,000 times the speed of light. The speed of one day is 3 light-years. 0. 3 light-years is just over 2 hours. The lark entered the silver star black hole not long ago. As we get closer to the core area of the silver star black hole, the closer we get to the core area of the silver star black hole, the scenery around became increasingly bizarre and fantastical. Lu Yao looked at the scenery outside the window. It quickly became unbearable. The head feels good. This is me. What happened? Finally, they began to breathe rapidly. What's wrong with you? Is everything okay? Mu Ziyu immediately became nervous, holding onto Lu Yao's hand. What happened to her? Like, we are all fine. The male lead quickly held onto Lu Yao's other hand. Unresolved path. This is. Can't bear the high-risk information anymore. Lin Zhu looked at Lu Yao's condition, suddenly realized. Unable to withstand high-risk information. Just like advanced civilizations cannot directly observe chaotic primordial energy. Mu Ziyu suddenly understood. The immortal sword has always been in the galaxy. After the chaotic primordial energy was carelessly discarded, the high civilization of residue, nature and advanced civilizations, I have a good understanding of the state when facing chaotic primordial energy. Advanced civilizations in the Milky Way galaxy, although there are various ways to utilize chaos origin energy, but none can directly observe chaotic primordial energy. It's because high-risk information contained within chaotic primordial energy will make the Earth unbearable for living beings, to the point of madness. Even make various. This chapter is not finished. Please click the next page to continue reading. Chapter 117. Rushing into the Silver Star Black Hole. Request for a monthly pass. Third, 3 pages. Unfathomable things come. Once there were the immortals of the Xianjian clan. It is also impossible to directly observe chaotic primordial energy. But from a certain day onward, it was the rice robot that underwent a change. It begins when we can directly confront the chaos and filth. The immortal clan on the sword of immortality, it can only be chaotic primordial energy. The reason, of course, is because humans are born to. The celestial beings of the human-favored clan also gained. It can only be a privilege of high-risk energy. It is the same now, although it is said that within the Silver Star black hole, only the high-risk and low-risk parts overlap. In the area of the Silver Star black hole has some high-risk characteristics, but it was still something Lu Yao could not bear. He didn't go crazy right away. It is already because this is no longer a purely high-risk relationship. As for why the others are fine, Lingzhu itself is a high-risk organism. Miss Q, Wuxiu, the male lead, is also a member of the Zhuanzu. All have the authority for high-risk amnesty. Only Lu Yao, it was Miss Q who brought it back from Zion Yuan's star, although they are also descendants of human creations. But they are not of the Huanzu. Wake up a bit. Why don't you also become a member of the family? How is it? Lingzhu left his seat, crouching down in front of Lu Yao. He waved his hand in front of Lu Yao and asked, "Don't make a fuss." Lu Yao pushed Lingzhu's hand away and shot him a glare. "I feel so miserable. Are you still messing with me? I'm not joking with you. Hurry up and speak. Agree or disagree? Once you agree, there will be no problem." Lingzhu continued to question. "Agreement. I agreed. Don't bother me." Lu Yao was just about to push Lingzhu away again. Suddenly realized that my head no longer hurts or feels heavy. Sigh. How am I doing? All right. You are now also part of the clan. Lingzhu returned to his seat, continuing to observe the inside of the black hole, no longer paying attention to this little interlude. But how did I become so attached? Lu Yao is still a bit fierce. Just now, Lord Lingzhu wanted to say that you should become a family member. You agreed. Nature is kin. So it's all good now. The male protagonist explained to him. It's that simple. Lu Yao still doesn't understand. This is a golden word of wisdom. The male protagonist nods proudly. It's as if Lingzhu is powerful. It means he is also very impressive. The path leads to frugality, Muzi said softly. In summary, Lu Yao is now looking at the bizarre scenes outside the window. The feeling of my head swelling is gone. Instead, it felt quite novel. So, he simply stopped thinking about it. We've been on this pirate ship for so long. It wasn't until today that I became part of the Chosen. It's already quite late. At the same time, the Lark has been sailing in the black hole for an hour, also gradually approaching the core of the Silver Star black hole. The scenery around began to change gradually. In the originally pitch-black black hole, gradually becoming colorful. Of course, that is actually not the scattering of sunlight, but rather it's the friction of space and time. The strange phenomena formed after particles are generated and impregnated. Well, so beautiful. The male lead was about to lean completely against the window. The nose was flattened against the window, looking at the magnificent scenery outside. At the same time, the alarm inside the Lark is continuously ringing. The gravity of the black hole is overwhelming. The gravity of the black hole is overwhelming. Activate the anti-gravity device to stabilize the gravity. The energy shield cannot generate due to gravitational pull. Electromagnetic defense was breached by the particle stream. The hull has collided. Self-repair of the injured area has been activated. Collision occurred. What happened? Lin Zhu asked. Suspected star debris. Yin Hua replied. All right. Can the hull hold up? Lin Zhu asked. trying various defense methods. The shield is activated. Please rest assured, Master. Yin Huo replied. It's nothing. At worst, I can just retreat back to my personal space. Lin Zhu didn't mind at all. Anyway, he is a high-dimensional being. Even in the silver star black hole, can't die either. Then what else is there to be afraid of? Lord Lin Zhu, look ahead. That is, where is that place? He is at the idol window. The male protagonist gazes out at the beautiful scenery, suddenly started shouting and screaming, only accompanied by the lark's call, passed through a certain area. Suddenly, a series of bright lights appeared ahead, or it could be said that it is a cosmic scale curtain of light. In that white light, various wonderful lights and shadows keep flashing. There are nebulae falling and being born inside. Stars are constantly being born and dying. There were even scenes of a cosmic fleet battle. This is right. On one side, Lu Yao speculated. It feels a bit like that. Could it be the memory of the Milky Way? Mu Ziyu had a brilliant idea. There's hard to say. Hard to say. Lu Yao shook his head. One side is also trying hard to watch. After all, this sight is truly rare. It's as if the entire universe is the backdrop, like a movie being screened. Opportunities are rare. We must hurry and take a look. Here, this should be the center of the Milky Way galaxy. What will happen if I go through? Lin Zhu murmured to himself. This, I don't know. However, the humans of that year, it must be that I've passed through. On one side, Lu Yao thought for a moment and said, That's right. So we went over too. Look, we've passed through the true core of the Milky Way. What will really happen? Lin Zhu made a decision. So, Ying Huo controls the lark, like the flames of rain in a storm, navigating through the storm like beams of light, through the birth of stars, crossing the nebula memorial, having traversed countless interstellar wars among various races. Mu Ziyu suddenly rushed to the window, right beside Nanju, because she seemed to have seen the immortal sword, the scene of an unsuccessful expedition. But it was just a fleeting moment. She even doubted whether she had seen it wrong, until the lark finally passed through all the light barriers. All that remained was an endless white light, always in a high-dimensional state. Lin Zhu observed all of this, suddenly realized everything around Lark changed in an instant. It was like suddenly switching to a different movie. Those involved cannot perceive it, but in higher dimensions it becomes clear. Lin Zhu didn't know where this was, but he knew. The surroundings have changed. Master, what's wrong with you? Miss Q noticed Lin Zhu's tightly furrowed brows. The others immediately looked over as well. They may no longer be in the galaxy. Lin Zhu fell silent for a moment. Let's talk. Not in the Milky Way anymore. So where is this? Nanju does not understand the way. Let's go out and take a look. You'll know when the time comes. Lin Zhu already has some suspicions, but did not say it out loud. So, Yin Huo was piloting the lark, continued towards the extreme shape, finally broke free from the range of the white light. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Requesting a monthly pass. Requesting recommendation tickets. The chapter is finished. Chapter 118, The Cosmic Moon and the Advanced Civilization Beyond the River. Chapter 118, The Space Moon Thousand and Extraterrestrial Advanced Civilization. First 3 pages. A black hole itself is just a form of extremely massive matter. The gravity is immense. Even the gravitational pull is so strong that light cannot escape from the celestial body. And it is also because such immense mass will cause time and space to distort. Normal black hole, it is after the death of a star, begins to collapse toward the center, when the core turns entirely into neutrons. It became a neutron star, but if it turns into a neutron, it hasn't stopped either. Jaitahab, it will form a black hole, a star of normal solar size. After the collapse into a black hole, the physical part is only a few kilometers in size. The visible quality has been compressed to the extreme. It is also for this reason. Only then can a gravity so strong be generated that even light cannot escape. And what about the black holes among the silver stars? It is equivalent to the mass of 2 million stars, formed after the collapse. As the saying goes, quantitative changes lead to qualitative changes. Collapse of the mass of 2 million stars became a black hole, twisting of space. Nature will also reach a certain extreme, adding the influence of certain high-dimensional characteristics. Are we still in the original universe? Lu Yao observed the white light growing more distant behind him. Look again in front of you, returning to a pitch-black darkness. The opposite of a black hole is a white hole. It's just that. Black holes absorb matter. The white hole ejects material. In theory, a white hole is the reverse of a black hole, matter entering a black hole. Eventually, everything will be ejected from the white hole to maintain a balance in the universe. There is a saying that black holes and white holes, it should exist in different universes. The matter absorbed by black holes from this universe, it will be ejected from another universe by a white hole. But in reality, from the perspective of the black hole of Yinzing, they did not traverse the universe, but merely traversing the galaxy. We are still in the original universe. It's just the position that has changed. This should be another galaxy. I just don't know how far away the Milky Way is. Lin Zhu answered Lu Yao's question. At the same time, the lark has also reached a speed of 1,000 times the speed of light, bursting out of the core black hole region of this river system. In theory, black holes devour everything, but as long as the speed is fast enough, it's not impossible to escape. Another galaxy. Did humans come here back then? Mu Ziyu gazed leisurely out the window, yearning. It should be right. Lin Zhu's tone was also a bit uncertain. Look at you all. Outside, there is no more chaos and filth. We have really arrived at another galaxy. The male protagonist suddenly pointed outside the window in surprise and shouted, "Everyone take a close look." Only then did I realize. As it burst out of the center of the galaxy, the black hole, the scene outside also came into view, no longer shrouded in a dense black curtain, the chaotic filth enveloping the entire center of the galaxy, but instead became a vast gathering of stars. The scene at the center of the normal galaxy, normal river system center, it should be the most central black hole, and gradually extending outward, a dense cluster of stars forms A. The star density here is so high. Lu Yao sighed. Near the center of the normal galaxy, the density of stars can reach hundreds of thousands within a light year. Mu Zi replied, "So many massive stars. It's no wonder that silver star is in disarray and filth, can devour order. It has grown to such an extent." Lu Yao sighed. It seems this river system is quite nice. So far, no disorderly filth has been found. Always keeping the high-dimensional perspective open, more than what a few people can see. It won't be relatively primitive. There are still star systems that haven't developed advanced civilizations, right? I can't believe it. There are advanced civilizations existing. They will not exploit chaotic primordial energy. unless the river system here does not produce chaotic elemental energy, the male lead questioned. There are also weak points in the high dimension here, so theoretically it is also possible to mine chaos primordial energy. And I have already seen the facility mining chaos source energy. Lingzhu's expression changed. He spoke with a somewhat complex tone. I sighed. Where are you? Can I take a look too? The male protagonist asked. Just ahead, not far away, Lingzhu replied. At the same time, he directly opened the portable space. Suddenly, there was a fluctuation in the space around the lark. A large number of self-disciplined mechanical aggregates surged out from the personal space, then flew in all directions. The high-dimensional perspective of Lingzhu. Actually, you can't see too far. Can see the extraction of chaos Yuan energy. It's also because it's close enough here. So he needs a self-disciplined mechanical aggregate. Scouting further ahead. Since we have left the center of the river system, I saw the facility extracting chaotic primordial energy. Then the rest of the places will, without a doubt, also have them. And soon the lark has arrived. Near the facility extracting chaos origin energy, the male protagonist leaned on the idle window, eyes wide open, looking at everything outside the window. A lone star floated in the vastness of the universe. Considering the density of stars here, there are no planets orbiting around the star. It's a very normal thing, around this star, but it is surrounded by a large number of various industrial facilities. Several star rings surround the star, a plethora of various instruments aimed at the star, constantly impacting the star with various forms of energy. The main thing is, some of these energies, it seems to still be collected from the stars. It's just like a star colliding with itself. This is how we collect chaos primordial energy. Muziu mumbled to herself. The people present all saw it at once. The scene of collecting chaotic primordial energy. Only a large number of various spacecraft could be seen, sailing around the surrounding waters. This place is like a massive interstellar factory. Various transport ships come and go. You can still see around. There are law enforcement ships maintaining order. So the lark appeared here. There are just too many spaceships, big and small. Even the construction style of the lark is. It seems quite different from the civilization that is currently mining chaotic primal energy. But there are various types of spaceships here. The style itself is also different. It looks like it comes from various strange and wonderful civilizations. So Lingzhu simply parked the lark here, watched openly and freely, until a moment later a patrol ship detected the spacecraft parked motionless by the roadside. So they flew over to inquire about the situation, looking at the inquiry voice message sent from across, listening to that slightly accented Chinese. Lingzhu is a bit intense. All right. So Chinese is the universal language of the universe, right? However, Lingzhu also confirmed this. Humans did indeed come to this star system back in the day, although it's unclear what has been left in this river system. But at least it shows that. He chased after the footsteps of humans. No detours taken. This is good. This is good. Is there a malfunction with the spacecraft ahead? Repeat it again. Is there a malfunction with the spaceship ahead? We can help with repairs. The inquiry from the enforcement ship echoed in the cockpit. The malfunction has been resolved. Thank you for your help. Lingzhu immediately replied. Immediately enter the navigation channel. Preparing to enter the harbor. Do not linger near the navigation channel. Repeat it again. Preparing to dock. Do not linger by the shipping lane. The enforcement ship sent another message. Understood. Lin Zhu replied. Are we really going in? The male lead on one side seems to be asking, but the eagerness in her tone could not be hidden. This chapter is not finished. Please click the next page to continue reading. Chapter 118, Space Jump and Extraterrestrial Advanced Civilizations, second and third pages. Let's go in and take a look. We currently know nothing about this river system. This way, we might be able to gather some intelligence. Lin Zhu decided. The Lark was guided by the enforcement ship, joined the torrent of ships entering the port. These various sized spaceships. Some are spaceships about 100 meters long, similar to the Lark. Some are transport ships that are a kilometer long. Some are even as long as 10,000 meters. For a moment, it was like a fleet of ships lining up to pass through a gate. At the same time, Lin Zhu quietly opened his portable space. A large number of nanobots began to be released, infiltrated various types of spaceships around to gather information. Some even infiltrated the port ahead. It quickly became clear what these spacecraft were here for. It's just an ordinary cargo ship. Some are equipped with various industrial equipment. Some of the supplies are just ordinary living essentials. There are also some passenger spaceships. There are more important matters to attend to for business. This large factory extracting chaos energy. It is also a vast settlement. Makes sense. Such a large factory. It definitely requires a lot of people to maintain daily operations. It's only natural to need various living supplies. Soon it will be the Skylark's turn to pass through. So many spaceships. It is naturally impossible for every spaceship to have people come aboard for inspection, but is taken care of by robots. Checking for prohibited items on the spacecraft. First is the large external sensor. Next is the robot inspection inside the spaceship. These are naturally easy to handle for the Yunque. Lin Zhu did not know if the Lark had anything relevant to the civilization. It's contraband. So let's be more cautious. During the inspection, directly infiltrated the machine with nanobots, blocked the signal alarm device. Then it was easily passed. As for things like electronic passes, it was also copied from a nearby spaceship using nanobots. At the same time, these people did not pass through the computer system. Thus, the passage is safely cleared. The Lark ship sneaked into the factory extracting chaotic primal energy. Of course, it's just entering the port living area. Following the guiding signal, they arrived at a certain location on the stellar ring surrounding the star. Gently docking, a massive city located above the stellar ring suddenly appeared in front of several people. Does it still look prosperous? Lord Lin Zhu, should we go for a stroll? Lan Zhu immediately felt eager to try. Sure, let's go. It's been tense for so long. Just consider it a way to relax. Lin Zhu stretched lazily. Stand up. Grandfather went out shopping. Lan Zhu cheered. Directly hugged Lin Zhu's arm. Just walk outside. But still sitting there, Tai Liao was a bit hesitant. He is reluctant to part with the big question in front of him. I also want to see this unknown famous city. Let's go together. Don't keep bottling it up here. Maybe take a break to relax. It is more helpful for practicing questions. Mu Ziyu directly grabbed. Then they pulled Lu Yao up. Miss Qiu also automatically followed Lin Zhu. Just like that, 5 people left the Lark, arrived at the port. Amidst the bustling port, various races are strange and diverse. But overall, still, upright walking mammals are the most numerous. Because only this form of life, the possibility of evolving into intelligent life is the highest. But Lin Zhu and the others looked. Among these strange and bizarre creatures, it doesn't seem particularly unique. Even the male bamboo with tiger ears and tail, all can proudly wag their big tails, without attracting anyone's attention. Un- it did attract some attention, but the reason it attracted attention, it's not because of their racial characteristics, but because of personal characteristics. For example, the appearance of several people, even in the eyes of aliens. I also think it's very good looking. After all, we are all upright walking mammals. Looks not very different from humans. Naturally, there is a similar aesthetic. It's like watching Avatar and E.T. Which one looks better? Clear at a glance. Of course. After all, we are not one race. So at most, I just feel that looks a little more pleasing to the eye. It's like we think Avatar is a bit more visually appealing, but it will never react to Avatar in any way. All right. Certain special groups are excluded, no longer within consideration. Walking on the main street of the airport, tall buildings soar from all directions. The sky is wrapped in a layer of something magical. After filtering out some of the starlight, illuminated within the vast airport, Lan Zhu pulled Lin Zhu. Their eyes were filled with excitement, Miss Q following behind, as quiet as ever. Mu Ziyu and Lu Yao was curiously observing everything around. Lin Zhu was shopping at the same time, not forgetting the nanobots spreading all around. Accept the self-disciplined, mechanical aggregate exploring in all directions. The message sent back. At the same time, Shen Ju's personal space opens up, spreading nanobots wherever they go. This has already become a habit for Lin Zhu. No, not just Lin Zhu's habit. Mu Ziyu, Lan Zhu, and even Lu Yao as well. Similarly, through their respective personal spaces, spreading nanobots in all directions. For a few people, in an environment without nanobots, I just always feel uncomfortable, not suitable. It feels the same as having no sense of security. So, no matter where you go, as long as there's no place with nanobots, we all need to take a walk sometimes. Anyway, the nanobots can self-replicate. For them, it is endless, even if it's just a walk outside. In the end, it was of no use. Completely indifferent as well. Just as a few people were happily strolling through the airport of an unknown civilization, at the same time also gathering. The information of this unknown civilization is, suddenly, a siren blares, echoes within the airport. A multitude of small machines ascends into the airspace of the airport, patrolling back and forth. At the same time, the announcement also sounded. Warning, warning. Discovering traces of the devouring particles. Suspected devourer has infiltrated the harbor. Please keep calm, personnel at the port. Cooperate with the security search. Please keep calm, everyone in the port. Cooperate with the search work of the guards. As the announcement sounded, it was chaos throughout the entire port. Originally, the crowd around the neighbor was extremely calm, watching the spectacle. As soon as I heard about the devouring particles, devourer, suddenly I started to feel uneasy. Devourer, the devourer has infiltrated here. Damn port administration. They are all a bunch of crap. This can all be infiltrated. No way. I need to hurry and leave. My goods are still on the ship. What if we get eaten by the devourer? Returning home. I want to go home. My daughter is still waiting for me. I can't die here. If I had known earlier, I won't come here to transport this cargo and more. Running towards the port, clearly preparing to escape back to the ship. He hadn't run a few steps yet. Small drones patrolling the sky. A laser shot over. directly on the floor in front of that person. A large pit has melted into the ground. Warning, warning. Please keep calm, personnel at the port. Otherwise, it will be taken as swallowed. This chapter is not finished. Please click the next page to continue reading. Chapter 118. Space Jump and Extraterrestrial Advanced Civilizations. Third, 3 pages. The capable will handle it together. Suddenly, originally planned to run back to the port. I can't move, can only stay in place. And the patrolling small machines. No matter what you say, as long as you don't run away, they just ignore you. Lord Linzu, what are devouring particles? What is the devourer? Have we encountered a wanted criminal? Lan Zhu held Lin Zhu's arm, looking at the small patrol drone in the sky, with a curious and eager expression. It seems like they want to catch one to study at any moment. You ask me? Who should I ask? Lin Zhu shrugged, but still looked around. The gaze landed on someone. It looks like a person who might be a tour guide. Let's find someone to ask. Speaking, Lin Zhu walked towards that person. Miss Qiu, Mu Ziu, and Lu Yao. I saw Lin Zhu move. Nature followed Lin Zhu and walked that way. Small machines patrolling the sky. It's not necessary to inquire about such small-scale movements. They are not asking everyone to stay completely still, but should avoid actions that easily provoke unrest. For example, running, etc. Brother, I want to ask something. Lin Zhu waved his hand. The appearance of that person's race compared to humans. They are about 80 to 90% similar. It's just that there are some joints on the body, slightly different from humans. Plus, the hair is natural, sparser than humans. It can be considered a naturally Mediterranean race. As Lin Zhu greeted, that day the Mediterranean frowned. Are you part of our tour group? Lin Zhu shook his head. The person glanced at several beautiful women beside Lin Zhu. My mood instantly worsened. It resembles humans about 80 to 90%. That aesthetic is quite similar. But I have no obligation to answer you. The Mediterranean naturally turned its head. I don't plan to pay any attention to Lin Zhu anymore. Then encountering this situation, Lin Zhu had no choice but to use his superpower. He reached into his pocket and took out a bill, directly handed over to Tian Sheng Daizhong Hai. Of course, the banknotes were replicated using nanobots. Have as much as you want. So he directly copied the largest denomination bill. But the tour guide, who had just been unwilling to answer Lin Zhu's questions, suddenly her eyes lit up. He took the money. He directly stuffed it into his pocket. What is unclear? Boss, feel free to ask. In the age of interstellar travel, especially among those who need to set sail, physical currency has actually replaced electronic payment and made a comeback. The universe is just too vast. Even digital currency that doesn't require the internet. Cash is even more popular among the voyagers. Because of the place they are going to. Some are even lagging behind, too. There are no electronic devices available to store digital currency. This led to the trend of food currency and electronic currency coexisting. I want to ask, what is going on? Lin Zhu pointed to the top above. The small patrolling machine asked, what happened? It's about capturing the devourer, born with a fierce Mediterranean vibe. It was as if it was stating the obvious. What is a devourer? Lin Zhu asked. What is a devourer? Boss, you don't even know about the devourer. Tian Shengdai Zhanghai's gaze towards Lin Zhu suddenly changed. It's as if you were looking at a primitive person. Should I know? Lin Zhu said as he tossed out a large bill. It's normal that the boss doesn't know. After all, who among normal people cares about what the devourers are? Isn't it? The Mediterranean cautiously looked around, while tucking the bills into his pocket, while playing. Having money makes you the most powerful, as long as you pay. You say what you mean. All right. Hurry up and say it. What is a devourer? Lin Zhu asked. The place where the boss comes. Did you just join the Alliance recently? So the Alliance isn't very familiar with the devourer. Mediterranean gang is filling in Lin Zhu's imagination. Yes. Lin Zhu nodded. That's it. Let me tell you. This so-called devourer, once a member of the Alliance, but at that time they have hidden their true selves, infiltrated within the Alliance, until later their true colors were revealed. Everyone then realized their purpose. Scary. It's really terrifying. Lin Zhu did not interrupt him, but rather waiting for him to continue speaking. So this devourer, able to control a special particle in the universe called the devouring particle. This kind of devouring particle will continuously devour all matter in the universe and transform matter into the devouring particles themselves. Think about it. How terrifying this must be. Devouring matter, copying oneself. Lin Zhu listened. Why does this sound so familiar? At the beginning, he heard about the particle devouring. I was wondering if it was related to disorder and filth. But now, the more I listen, the more it feels wrong. Although chaos is filthy, order can also be assimilated into chaos. But I haven't heard of it yet. What intelligent life exists can manipulate disorder and filth? That still fits this statement. Isn't that just the rice robot left? Is this scary? Lin Zhu felt a bit confused. You think about it. Let them continue to devour and replicate like this. One day this will happen. All the matter in the entire universe. Don't they all end up becoming these engulfing particles? This isn't scary at all. Born to be a Mediterranean guide. Speaking of this, fear inexplicably appeared on their faces. Visible. This so-called devourer and devouring particles. It caused him immense psychological trauma. Of course, this doesn't necessarily mean he has encountered it personally. But in this era, even if we never meet, watch a few video clips, even experience it in virtual reality, it's still very simple. I just don't know. What kind of scene has he experienced? Lin Zhu and a few girls. They exchanged glances at each other. Finally understood. Emotions, the devourer that infiltrates the harbor. It's just them. Especially the personal space of a few people. They are still releasing that rice robot outside. So reckless. We must not be discovered right. At this moment, the crowd that had originally gathered on the street, and gradually it dispersed almost completely. No one caused the chaos. So everyone slowly leaves, patrolling small machines. Nature won't care either. Mediterranean tour guide. He is also ready to take his tour group members. Returned to the hotel. Such things have happened. Who still has the desire to continue playing? It's safer to hurry back to the hotel. Lin Zhu thought for a moment. He took out a whole dozen of bills again, handed it to the Mediterranean tour guide. The tour guide's eyes immediately lit up. A willingness to go through fire and water for Lin Zhu. We few. Now I am temporarily joining your tour group. What do you think? Lin Zhu asked. Temporary addition. No problem. Of course, no problem. Just, we're heading back to the hotel now. It's nothing. Just add a few more rooms for us at the hotel. Lin Zhu replied, even though I was wanted by the port. But he doesn't want to leave just like that. Regarding the so-called alliance, There are also devourers. And the example of devouring. Lin Zhu needs more intelligence. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Requesting a monthly pass. Request for recommendation. End of this chapter. Chapter 119, The Bounty on Lin Zhu and Others. Chapter 119, The Wanted Notice for Lin Zhu and Others. First, 3 pages above the port of the stellar ring node. Lin Zhu and a few others followed the tour group, riding on the Sichuanfu bus. We returned to the hotel together. The hotel is located above the harbor, building down from the celestial dome. The horizon hangs in the air above the port. Buildings constructed in countless similar ways, hanging densely above the port ceiling. The Sichuanfu bus must be delivered to the door, must enter, with the help of a tour guide named Achille. A few people are part of the tour group. Opened a suite. After a few people entered the room. Nanobots scanned every corner of the room. No listening devices were found. And hidden cameras. This is just the beginning. Lord Lin Zhu. Wanted? Is it really just us? When the male protagonist spoke about this matter, the eyes are still sparkling. It's just light. I encountered something fun. It looks like it is. Why use nanobots? Will be called the Devourer. Lin Zhu stood by the window, looking at the various cyberpunk scenes outside the window. Various types of floating vehicles continuously streak across the sky, full of confusion. I believe this is a deliberate stigmatization, deliberately slandering the enemy as devils. Instill fear in the people. It can only be the old routine, but it's very useful. Muzi speculated. The tour guide just said, the Devourer was once a member of the Alliance. Could it be due to some reason? The Alliance betrayed the Devourer. Then they completely exterminated the Devourer. The male protagonist speculated. Current intelligence is limited. Who betrayed whom? What happened? It's hard to say. Based on the current intelligence. The so-called Devourer. Someone who can also control nanobots. Lin Zhu did not reach a direct conclusion. Could it be the favored ones? Mu Ziyu thought for a moment and said, I think it's the Huanzu. The male lead thought for a moment and said, not necessarily. I actually don't think so. Lu Yao, however, had a different perspective. Why, because of the low-level authority synthetic beings. The control over nanobots is likely limited. The male protagonist asked in confusion. It is precisely because the control of low-level permissions is limited. I don't think it's the Zerg. If it is a clan with intermediate authority, it's impossible to be forced to the point where everyone shouts for your defeat. It's reached the point of a nationwide manhunt. What do you mean? When others say you have weapons of mass destruction, you better really have it. This way, the other party won't dare to pressure too much. And now the Devourer is forced to this extent. Instead, it represents the Devourer itself lacks the strength to threaten the Alliance. Only then will they be hunted down without restraint. That does make some sense. The male protagonist understood Lu Yao's meaning. But what if the number of the clan is too small? Mu Ziyu, however, proposed a new perspective. Like in Zion Jin, the enormous power of the entire clan. Nature is fearsome. But if there are only a few clans, even if an individual's strength is exceptional, in the universe it can't stir up much of a storm either. As Lin Zhu and the others were discussing the topic of the Devourer, within the administrative agency at the port entrance, in an office, a person covered in scales, the brain compared to humans, a more rounded man. He started banging on the table at the person across from him. How do you even get things done? How could the Devourer sneak into the port? Still swaggering in like that. I'm sorry, Captain. But the devourer uses devouring particles, modified the port clearance information. We were completely unaware. If it weren't for the later actions of who, an engineer noticed something was wrong. Traces of chaotic particles have been detected. I also can't believe it. The devourer is surprisingly audacious. Modify port clearance information using devouring particles. How is this possible? Such meticulous operation. It's not something an ordinary devourer could achieve. Could it be those legendary old-timers? But why did they come here? Not good. Could they be after the chaos primordial energy? In an instant, sweating nervously from his own speculation, the officer behind the desk could no longer sit still. Suddenly jumped up, rushed straight out of the office. Report to the Alliance Evaluation Council. Immediately report to the Alliance Council. The devourer has set its sights on the chaos primordial energy. Hurry up. In an instant, the entire administrative office became chaotic. At the same time, small patrol machinery in the port increased the frequency of patrols again. At the same time, various kinds of weapons and equipment, and they are appearing more and more on the streets. This time, the flow of people on the street has become sparser. Everyone chose to return to their own homes. The other side, in the hotel room, Lin Zhu and a few others, is continuously releasing nanobots, enabling nanorobots to penetrate every aspect of the port. Let's gather more intelligence. Completely unaware that they are being hunted. What is being wanted? Lin Zhu simply doesn't care. Several girls feel the same way. Such a large factory for collecting chaos primordial energy, if you want to leave on your own, can still trap oneself, because there is confidence. So they acted recklessly, until the sound of explosions echoed through the streets. Standing by the window, looking outside. However, fierce battles broke out in some areas, amidst the roar, also mixed with the shadows of swords. It seems like someone is battling with sword energy against armed machinery. At the same time, Lin Zhu also received it. Took the tour guide, Axi Lai, before Lin Zhu. The calls from the hotel. Are you still at the hotel? That's good. That's good. What happened? It's nothing. Just a reminder for you all. Don't go outside. I heard that the devourer has been found. Currently conducting an arrest. What if I get caught up in it? Dying would be in vain. Lin Zhu just smiled and shook his head. He hung up the phone too, then looked out the window. Master, what should I do? Miss Q looked at Lin Zhu. The others also looked at him, although I don't understand who exactly took the blame for us. But since the other party is the devourer, there must be more intelligence information, right? Let's go. Go save the person. Lin Zhu decided. In the next moment, a few people have already climbed through the open window, came to the window, rapidly flying towards the location of the explosion. At the same time, just hung up the phone, preparing to make a call. The tour guide brother made another call. With a loud bang, the door was violently burst open by a tremendous impact. Several fully armed robots charged indirectly. Several police officers followed behind. Put down your weapons, devourer. You are already surrounded. Where is your companion? Hurry up. I don't know. I didn't do anything at all. I am not a devourer. The tour guide has already been scared to tears. Then he was directly pressed to the ground. This chapter is unfinished. Please click the next page to continue reading. Chapter 119. The Wanted Notice for Lin Zhu and Others. Second and third pages. However, the robot does not listen to his beeping. Although the robot did not take from him detection of the reaction of the devouring particle. But the devourer itself is extremely cunning. many seasoned devourers. It can also hide the devouring particles on its body. As long as there is anyone who is a potential devourer, then we must be extremely cautious. Thus, he was treated as the guide of the devourer. It's a disaster. Still not admitting it. Directly use the devouring particles, disguised as currency for use. You really have some nerve. Not me. That's not mine. It was given to me by someone else. The tour guide was pinned to the ground. I'm almost out of breath. It's not you. Where are your people? I will take you to find him. I will take you to find him. After a moment, as the tour guide led the fully equipped robot and combat personnel, as they burst into Lin Zhu and the others' room, it was empty inside. At the same time, on Port Street, Dong-gu is being besieged by a large number of armed machines, is struggling fiercely with the armed machinery. It's a pity. Human effort has its limits. Facing the relentless assault of the armed machines, Dong-gu is rapidly consuming. Dong-gu is now more concerned about: did Aoda successfully escape? As long as Aoda runs away, even if he is arrested, I feel reassured now. With a loud bang, a sword aura slashed out by Dong-gu, shattered by a particle cannon fired from an armored vehicle. Suddenly, two robots rushed to his side. Dong felt the particles of energy swirling around him, planned to create a shockwave. Who knows, he has already pushed his body to the limit. Suddenly, the divine needle particle emitted a wave. The shockwave has not yet been unleashed, has already been pressed to the ground by two robots. Dong-gu let out a sigh. I was just about to come directly for the self-detonation. Anyway, even if I die, one cannot let others know the intelligence they possess. The existence of Eadl has been discovered by others. He still has a mission to complete. Little did they know they hadn't had the chance to self-destruct yet. Suddenly, I felt a chill run through my body. The two robots that were originally pressing down on me was directly blown away. Dong stared blankly for a moment. Looking up, I suddenly noticed someone beside me. An extra man and 4 women appeared. 5 figures. He also belongs to a group that has a similar appearance to humans, and races with similar aesthetics. So in his eyes, 4 girls, each more beautiful than the last, even if he only cares about Eadl. I also have to admit, these 4 are far more beautiful than Ao Dar. But this is not important. What's important is, these people are completely unguarded. The breath of divine particles surged. The magnificent divine particles. Dong-gu for a moment thought that, did I really see the elder? Suddenly, he saw one of the girls make a move. Mu Ziyu casually unleashed a wave of sword energy. The sword energy extends infinitely forward. The roar lifted the entire street, including the sky above the streets, also enveloped by this sword energy. Then they saw, under a soaring sword energy, originally spread throughout the entire street, a vast array of armed machines filled the entire sky, instantly emptied. Dong-gu was stunned for a moment. A fleeting glance, terrifying beyond measure. Master Lingqiu, Mu Ziyu cleared the armed machines from the entire street, turned to look at the spirit beast. She asked Lingqiu for his opinion with her eyes. Let's continue fighting. Better not to fall in love with war. Let's go, the spirit beast said. In the next moment, Mu Ziyu controlled the nanobots, wrap around Dong-gu, bringing Dong-gu along. A few people quickly disappeared into the street. Dong-gu did not resist either, although I don't know who saved me. But in this divine bestower, in the situation where they are wanted by the Alliance, The other party is also wielding the power of the divine gift particles. Then there's a high probability it's someone from our side. As for saying, why not 100%? But it's just very likely. It is naturally because, except for the wanted divine bestower, there are also some divine bestowers currently acting as dogs for the Alliance, relying on the power of the divine giver to confront the God-given. The ruling class has always been this way, never an exception. And among the divine bestowers, nature can also willingly sacrifice for power and so on, taking the initiative to be a dog for the ruling class. Although Sai Dongu was saved by the spirit beast group, and the spirit beasts were also bestowed by the gods. But he didn't believe it right away. A few people from the spirit beasts are our own, until he discovered the route of the spirit beasts flying. This is when I finally struggled to get up. Only the limits of one's heart can be leaped over. He can't break free. What should I call you? Lingchu asked. Sedungu? How should I address you? Sai Dongwu thought for a moment. Still replied, just call me Lingchu. Wait until we find the girl you just separated from. Let's go again. Don't worry. Lingchu comforted him. Sai Dongwu gave a bitter smile. It is precisely because you are looking for him. I'm the one worried. It's just my own words. Even if you are truly the lapdogs of the Alliance, disguised as one of mine own to connect with me, I can handle you all. But Oda, how did you find Oda? Since we cannot resist, Sai Donbu could only try to stay as calm as possible. Very simple. Just mark him, the spirit beast replied, using divine subatomic particles as markers. How did you do it? Sai Dongu exclaimed in amazement. This skillful use of subatomic particles. Sai Dongu had never seen it before. Now he truly begins to hope from the bottom of his heart. Spirit beasts can truly become one of us. God Particle Hut. The spirit beast first listened to the divine particle. This name carries a sense of contemplation. He smiled and said, it's very simple. If you want to learn, I can teach you. This is precisely why Lingchu was conversing with him, tried to unobtrusively extract some information. Because for many of them, it's just common knowledge. For spiritual beings, this information can clear up a lot of doubts. Teach me. It really is possible. Sai Donbu was surprised. Can this secret technique be taught so casually? Sure. Lingchu looked at the nearby Liao. After all, only the Nimi robot can teach. Skills of low-level authorized individuals, still the road. This chapter is not finished. Please click the next page to continue reading. Chapter 119. The Spirit Beast and the Crowd on the Wanted poster. Third, 3 pages. Yao is the most professional, because he only had low-level permissions before, like Muxiu and Nanju, although they are all stronger than Lu Yao, but they have not had much contact with the existence of low-level permissions. Not professional enough, really. No problem. Lu Yao nodded. Don't be deceived by the cultivators on Zion Yuan's star back then. Not very strong in ability. However, the various applications developed, still very practical. No problem. Can teach. Lingchu then said, very soon. A few people soon found it, hiding behind a building. Oda in the shadows of the alley, as soon as they saw the celestial beast descending from the sky. He is still somewhat cautious, but soon noticed. A few people did not hide it. Nanorobot's breath, or the ore of the divine needle particle. I saw it too. Sedong Gu, accompanied by a few people. Mr. Sai, are you okay? Oda immediately pounced on Sedong, a bit nervous. Bai Saidong was examining his entire body. Make sure he's okay. This finally eased my mind. All right, let's talk about the past later. Let's go to the port first. Let's head back to the spaceship. Otherwise, the pursuers will arrive soon. Ling Chu looked up at the sky. The armed machines are gathering more densely. You can even see the battleship has already been activated outside the airport. The thick cannon was aimed toward the port. Go to the port and return to the spaceship. Are you leaving here? Sai Dongu was momentarily stunned. Yeah, everyone is wanted. What are you still doing here? There's nothing fun anymore. The spirit beast nodded and said, I'm sorry. We can't leave yet. We still have a mission to fulfill. This time, it was Ao Da who refused Ling Chuksu. Mission? What mission? Do you mind if I ask about it? Ling Chu was taken aback, suddenly became interested. Oda wanted to refuse, but Sai Dongu spoke up first. If it were someone else, nature cannot be. But you saved us. Moreover, they are also the chosen ones. Of course, no problem. Oda is a bit strange. Glancing at Sai Dongu, thought about it. I think he is right. So he nodded slightly. Sedongu couldn't help but smile bitterly inside. If the few people in front of me are truly my own, let them know then. But what if the few people in front of me are the hunters sent by the Alliance? They saw through them. The two of them began to grow suspicious of each other. At that time, we'll just tear off the facade. Sai Dongo is not afraid at all, but he didn't want Ayada to get hurt. So we can only temporarily engage in pretense and deception. Actually, we are here to collect something. Sai Dongu explained. Things. What is it? Can we talk? The spirit beast asked curiously. It's not that I don't want to speak, but I also don't know what that thing is. Originally, we planned to arrive at the port, took the things and left immediately. Who knows, it hasn't been long since we entered the port. Then it was never discovered. It seems the Alliance has acquired more advanced technological means, able to detect the presence of the chosen particle. Speaking of which, Sai Dongu let out a sigh. Only the spirit beasts feel. This shouldn't be a spirit creature. The Alliance has acquired more advanced technological means, but rather a few of them using it recklessly before, and release the pot of the Nami robot. But he definitely won't explain it, seeing that the spirit animals were reluctant to leave on their own. Sai Dongu had no choice but to bite the bullet. A few people went to pick up the goods with the spirit beast. Fortunately, the goods to be collected this time. It's not something particularly important, although Sai Dongu did not know what to take. But based on past experience, it should just be some technical information that doesn't involve any confidential matters. So, Sai Dongu and Ao Da brought a few spirit animals, wandering through the streets and alleys of the port, relying on the abilities of a few spirit beasts, continuously dodging the patrolling small machines. I could tell the two of them should be very familiar with the port. Clearly, this is not the first time coming here to pick up goods. Very soon, a few people arrived at a somewhat dirty alleyway. A slightly dilapidated shop door was knocked on. Who is it? All the doors are closed. Why are you back? A somewhat lazy voice. He opened the door while yawning, but at the moment of seeing Sai Dongu and Ao Da, just want to close the door. But it was too late to close the door. Sai Dongu pressed the door shut. What does it mean? You betrayed us. Sai Dongu's curse hasn't arrived. That I didn't dare. I am scared. They are currently searching for you outside. You see, that person said. He also pointed to a wall made up of display screens next to him. The spirit beast curiously glanced over. Suddenly, her expression became strange, because a wanted notice is currently scrolling above, not just Saidangu and Auda. There are also spirit beasts and Miss Q, Muziu, male lead, and Lu Yao. Why are we still here? During the battle just now, we weren't seen, were we? Spirit beasts do not understand the way. Is that tour guide arrested? Miss Q thought for a moment and said, "So it turns out he sold us out." Ling Chun nodded knowingly, but it didn't matter much. "I am here to pick up something. Is everything still there?" Sai Dong asked. Then, "Of course. What Big Tom gave me. How could I not take good care of it?" The person smiled ingratiatingly, clearly afraid of these outlaws. "Give yourself a good hit before leaving." "I'll leave once I get the stuff," said Saidangu. "Okay, I'll find it for you right away. Wait for you all." So, to let Saidangu leave early, that person immediately started to search frantically. Finally, from a certain corner, found a metal box. Then it was handed over to Saidangu. Sedongu checked it over, nodded no problem. The spirit beasts finally left, and that person immediately closed the big door and added a lock. "Now we can go, right?" the spirit beast asked. "We can go now. But how do we get there? The port has already been blocked, right? Even if I can return to the port to get the spaceship, I can't leave either." Saidangu said worriedly, "This is not difficult. Just go ahead and make the call." The male protagonist holds onto the spirit beast with one arm, swinging that beautiful golden tail. Said nonchalantly, "This defense measure. He can easily hit it out himself. Not to mention, there are so many of them. There is another spirit beast. Make the call. This is the Chaos Operators Collection Factory of the Alliance. There is a fleet nearby." Saidangu looked as if he had heard some kind of absurd tale. Bayadin also nodded repeatedly. "It's nothing," feeling at ease. "Let's talk about this matter." The male lead had a serious expression. "Rest assured, we will handle things properly." "I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that." Request for a monthly pass. Request for recommendation tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 120. Cosmic Pirates of the Chaotic Star Region. Chapter 120. Cosmic Pirates of the Chaotic Star Domain. First, 3 pages. With a loud bang, the male lead charges to the front. Wing Kong is just a corner accompanied by this corner, a massive shadow of a tiger's tail, pulled across the sky, directly sweep away all the armed machines in the sky. In an instant, the sky was filled with armed machines falling like sparks of electricity, and various parts, and Ling Zhu and the others, swiftly swept across the sky, rushed straight into the airport. "Mr. Sai, who are they after all? Looks really strong." Bao Da cautiously asked Sai Donggu. For this, Sai Donggu also just managed a faint smile. 2 people anticipated flying. The speed isn't slow either. At least I can keep up with Ling Zhu and the others. As soon as we enter the airport, the 2 saw the spaceship they arrived in. Now it has been taken over by massive heavy machinery, locked on the shipyard. It couldn't be started at all. Such things had long been anticipated by the 2 of them. So at the beginning I knew. Ling Zhu and the others are heading back to the airport, retrieving the spaceship. The 2 are expressing opposition, but unfortunately, the 2 of them have no say at all. So I had no choice but to follow Ling Zhu and the others. Let's continue to act together. Until I really rushed into the airport. Seeing my spaceship locked down, both of them showed an expression of as expected. Then followed along with Ling Zhu and a few others. Found the location of the Lark. Why hasn't your spaceship been locked? In the midst of overwhelming expectations, there is nothing but confusion. Maybe we disguised ourselves well, Ling Zhu said with a smile. In reality, fireflies communicate through nanorobots. Infiltrated the port's database. When entering the port earlier, the records of the Lark have been erased. Now over at the port, still urgently working on data recovery. For a short while, the Lark ship cannot be found. This is the spaceship that Ling Zhu and the others took. All right, all right. You all come up too. Just right. We still have empty seats on our boat. The male lead warmly invites. Mr. Sai, we can really leave smoothly now. Bao Bao was very happy to grab. Sai Dong jumped with his sleeves flapping. Sedong Gu appears on the surface. Also showed a happy expression, but in reality, still on guard in secret. Just like that, everyone boarded the Lark, entered the cockpit. Suddenly, the Lark slowly began to leave the port. In an instant, throughout the entire port, just as Ling Zhu and the others invaded, the alarm began to sound. It became even louder for a moment, at the same time, surrounded by the starry rings in the distance. On the other side of the military port, a large number of warships, also leaving the naval port, sailing this way. It looks like they are trying to intercept the Lark. It is the fleet. The fleet has indeed been mobilized. Sai Dongbu looked through the idle window, seeing the scene in the distance. A serious expression appeared on his face, turning around to remind Ling Zhu and the others, but saw a few people, completely indifferent. For a moment, I didn't even know what to say. I know you are very impressive. But that's a fleet. Although not the entire fleet was deployed, just a few warships. It wasn't just a small spaceship like that. It can be fought against. Have they surrounded us? Does anyone want to solve them? Ling Zhu asked. Such a small scene. Ling Zhu didn't want to use the space he carried with him yet. Self-disciplining mechanical aggregate. It's like using a cannon to hit a mosquito. Of course, if no one wants to take action, then Ling Zhu will come by himself. I'll come. Mu Ziyu didn't know if she sensed Ling Zhu's intention to act. So they spoke first. After all, in her eyes, if such trivial matters, if Ling Zhu is going to do it himself, that was her dereliction of duty. Muxiu turned and left the cockpit. Moments later, it appeared in the void of the universe. Kid, how did she go out? What is she doing? Ao Da was surprised and pointed at Mu Ziyu, who was idly looking out the window. Why isn't she even wearing a protective suit? This is the universe. Sai Donggu also said in confusion. Then, in the next moment, suddenly, Mu Ziyu was enveloped in a bright light, a phantom of 100-meter longboat, surrounding her. That is precisely on Earth. Recreate the 100-meter long flying boat for Mu Ziyu. Suddenly, the flying boat carried Mu Ziyu's figure, moving rapidly through the cosmos. In the blink of an eye, the few warships approaching to encircle the Lark were getting close. Immediately after that, missiles were launched from the flying vessel. The sound of continuous explosions echoed. Battleships were just stationed outside the airport, blown to pieces, once the Lark had sailed out of the debris field. Mu Ziyu also returned to the cockpit. Sai Donggu and Ao Der were left with their mouths agape in surprise. It didn't close either. The two looked at Mu Ziyu with their eyes. It was as if I was looking at some alien creature. Especially, the two recognized the one that Mu Ziyu had just used. It is the power of the God particle. It turns out the God particle. To think such a powerful force could erupt, even on the front lines of battle, directly rivaling the worship, although they have also cultivated the divine subatomic particles for a long time. But it was just a feeling. The God particle granted intelligent life the power to confront mechanical creations. But I never expected that. The flesh and blood can actually unleash the power to destroy warships. All right, let's have a chat. I have some questions I want to ask you all. The Skylark has completely left the airport. Lin Zhu finally faced. The two, still in shock, said, "Please go ahead and ask. As long as it's something I can answer, I will definitely not hide it." Sai Donggu's attitude became increasingly earnest as he spoke. Bao Da also nodded repeatedly. "I heard that. In the beginning, the divine messenger was also a member of the alliance. Can you tell me what happened next?" "The Shenzi became the most wanted devourer," Lin Zhu asked. "Don't you know?" Sai Dongwu was taken aback for a moment. I never expected Lin Zhu to ask that. It turns out to be a question that can be considered common knowledge. All right, it's not exactly common knowledge, but it's also the kind that only requires a little attention on a regular basis. Look at more random posts online. The problems that can be analyzed. Although I don't understand. Why doesn't Lin Zhu know this? But since it's not a secret, Nai Saidong Gu said this. There are no more worries. It's betrayal. We, the divine beings, have been shamefully betrayed by the alliance. Sai Donggu's expression was grave. Ayada nodded in agreement as well. Lin Zhu gestured slightly. Everything starts from 10,000 years ago. The establishment of the alliance. The original civilization of the Star River Alliance. It's just a few. The god Tyr joined the alliance at that time. He is one of the original land grant holders of the alliance. Later, the alliance continued to expand, promoting the ideals of the alliance. For example, racial peace, coexistence of civilizations, opposition to hegemony, etc. Until 3,000 years ago, the alliance has expanded to occupy more than half of the galaxy and officially renamed to the Star River Alliance. And all along, the chapter is not finished. The cosmic pirates of the chaotic starfield. Second, Sanni, the contradictions overshadowed by the continuous growth of the alliance. It finally erupted at that moment. Shen Saiji, as a special group, beginning within the alliance. Ordinary people who cannot sense the God particle feel repulsed. No one knows. Why do some intelligent beings? The existence of the divine subatomic particle can be sensed, but some cannot. Countless scientists in the alliance. Research on the God particle has been conducted. From the very beginning, the scientists of the alliance tend to believe the God particle is a man-made creation. The more I researched later on, the more it is overturned. The possibility of creating a God particle, because of the existence of the God particle, has already surpassed intelligent life. The limits of what can be created, some scientists even doubt. Within the God particle, containing information from higher dimensions, it is a visualization of some interference from high dimensions to low dimensions. It also started from that time. A vast number of ordinary intelligent beings, for the few divine beings, can sense the uniqueness of the God particle. Extreme escalation plus ordinary intelligent life can also be achieved through scientific research. Mastering immense power, the divine manipulators can control divine particles, accomplish all sorts of magical things, but on the battlefield, it's not as useful as a warship. So the special group known as the Shenjai people, being overturned by ordinary intelligent beings, it's only natural, accompanied by the narration. Sedong Gu's face, even smiled. I don't know if it's self-mockery, still mocking those ordinary people of the extremely divine. Lin Zhu is with the male protagonist. Mu Ziyu and the other exchanged glances. Once again, looking at Lu Yao, who is still deep in thought. Just now, Sai Donggu said this. Indeed, the amount of information is huge. Scientists cannot figure it out. Why only the divine ones? Able to sense nanobots. But Lin Zhu knew, because these people are the descendants of human creations. Lin Zhu never expected that. Scientists have even discovered the so-called God particle. Actually, it's that robot. None of it has been researched. Is it that the scientists of this galaxy are more useless? Still, after humans are born, the changes brought about by nanorobots. Is it really that big? Thinking like this, Lin Zhu looked back at the window again, chasing after the Skylark-class airship, the speed of those warships. It was calculated to even reach 100 times the speed of light, and it's accelerating. Superior civilizations in the galaxy. The battleship's speed increased countless times. It seems that way. It's not that scientists are useless, but rather nanobots exist after human life. An unknown change has truly occurred. One could even say it is precisely because the scientists here are exceptionally talented. That's why one can perceive the incredible nature of nanobots. I believe this cannot be created by intelligent life, even regarded as a divine artifact. Are there still many Shensai practitioners? Understood the basic information. Lin Zhu wanted to know the current situation. Unclear. This is something that no one knows. Shen Saiji, if I truly exhaust all my divine power, completely hide oneself, no matter how advanced the instruments are, it can't be detected either. Moreover, the God-level being wants to manipulate God-level particles. It also requires learning the day after tomorrow, if you have never learned the methods of control. It is also impossible to master the God particle. In the eyes of the Alliance, just an ordinary person. So among ordinary people, how many more divine beings are still hidden? I don't know what to say, but if you want to ask, that kind of power has been mastered. The God Slayer hunted by the Alliance. Then there isn't much left. And such a person, most are concentrated on Storm Star. Storm Star? What place is that? Lin Zhu questioned further. The Storm Star can be considered as now the place with the highest number of divine beings. This is the stronghold of the divine order. Elder Council of the Divine Ones. Also there. Sai Donggu looked at Lin Zhu. There was a look of confusion in his eyes. But still,